Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today, because still box office is completely dead, I am doing a movie review for the channel, and this is a film that I think is important, especially during times like this where things are just crazy. Things seem to be very dark and just seem to be very grim overall. I think it's important for us to both watch and also support films that kind of give that ray of light and that ray of hope in a dark world. And I think that the Peanut Butter Falcon is absolutely a fantastic way to really see that light in not only others but also in our world right now. For those that have not seen Peanut Butter Falcon, I highly recommend it. It's a film that came out in 2019, and it tells the story of a kid with Down syndrome. I say a kid, but a young adult with Down syndrome. He's in his early 20s, and he has a dream of becoming a professional wrestler, or at the very least, of training to be a professional wrestler. And on his journey, he meets various characters, including a brilliant performance by Shia LaBeouf, or as I like to call him, Shia LaBeouf. And just, it really is amazing to see that Shia LaBeouf has come such a far way from where he was when he was, doing roles on Disney Channel with Even Stevens, from when he fell off the rails and just went crazy with He Will Not Divide Us and having to go to therapy and everything, just to see what he's been able to accomplish since that time period in this most recent performance of his is just truly remarkable and spectacular. But the reason why I love this film so much is not just because of just the fun story throughout, not just because of the brilliant ending to it, but also because I think it shows us the value of life. We all know that we live in a world where there are certain countries where children who are found to be having Down syndrome are not even allowed to be born. And I think that a film like this, showing us truly that all human persons have value, whether they have Down syndrome, whether they don't have Down syndrome, no matter what state of life they're in, that all human life has value. And I think that's the reason why this film is so important right now, because it shows us just how important all life is, especially when you look to various countries around the world where people who are elderly are being allowed to basically die and not get ventilators and not receive the care that they need because of us viewing them as somehow less valuable during this time of crisis. And I think that it's disgusting that we live in a world that's like that right now. I think that right now, more so than ever, we need to see the good in others. We need to see the beauty in others. We need to see the fact that all human life has value. And the Peanut Butter Falcon, I think, does an excellent job of doing that. So just some of the notes that I took on this film before I give my final grade. First off, there's a fun, nice, quirky score throughout the entire film. So this film definitely has a quirk to it, because it is a story of a young man with Down syndrome who wants to become a professional wrestler after watching these VHS tapes of various wrestlers. And it's just, as a wrestling fan myself, it's just kind of fun just to see these promos that he's watching and how he's just buying into it completely. He has no idea how long those tapes have been around. He has no idea if the people on those tapes are even still around, but he has a dream. He says, I don't want to just be stuck in this nursing home. I don't just want to be stuck here being taken care of and not being allowed to really just live my life. And so because of that, that's what motivates him and drives him throughout the entire film. And so he's on this journey to find this character, Saltwater Redneck, played brilliantly by Thomas Hayden Church. And on that journey, he runs into Shia LaBeouf's character, who plays a character named Tyler. And Tyler basically takes him under his wing. It takes him a little while, of course, because Tyler is very self-focused. He's on the run because he had lost an older brother earlier in his life, or rather a few years prior, and had still struggled with that loss of his brother. And they were both in a fishing business with each other. And so he is trying to make it on his own, but he has issues and has struggles with the other fishermen in his community. He does an act where he basically burns all their product, and he is basically now on the run from them because they want to essentially, if not kill him, at the very least beat him up very terribly. So that whole thing about these two characters basically being on the run for different reasons, because the other, dealing with the character Zach, who's played beautifully by Zach Gottsigan, I think is how you pronounce his name. Is being on the run from Dakota Johnson's character, who is the one that's been taking care of him for most of his life. And so Dakota Johnson's on this journey trying to find him, thinking that she's taking care of him by sheltering him and by protecting him. And what's beautiful about everything is that Tyler shows her that that's not what life is all about. That's not how one lives their life. And that even though they both end up falling in love with this character, falling in love with this person, right? With this person, Zach, for different reasons and in different ways, both through their own experiences with the character. It just shows you how we can love people in certain ways, and also how sometimes the way that we love someone might not be what's best for that person, as Dakota Johnson's character finds out throughout the film. And also, it's great to see Dakota Johnson give a great performance here. It's sad that she had to get caught up in the 50 Shades of Grey nonsense, because I think anytime anyone sees her or sees the character, or sees rather her name in a movie, that they'll immediately think of 50 Shades. And I think that that's a disservice, because she actually is a very talented actress, and I think she showcases that in this film overall. What's really great too for wrestling fans is that there's a couple of cameos from other wrestlers. Jake the Snake Roberts is the one name that I will say is mentioned, and rather is featured in this film as a very small supporting character, but there's a couple others too where you're like, oh, I know this person. It's really fun how they introduce it, and I had no idea that it was going to happen, but it was really fun to see those characters and to see them come into play here as we have Zach going on his journey. I put Zach is great too. It really just shows us, and I wrote down, that this shows us the value of all human life. Doesn't matter where one comes from or what one's history is. I put Shia is great too. The fact that even in the very beginning of the film, he's a fisherman, and you see that he is doing a lot of the stuff that they're showing him doing on screen. Cutting ropes, basically, I forget what the actual terminology is for it, but basically he is, shucking fish, basically, where he actually had to learn that skill with a knife to how to descale fish. And so it's just really cool when actors learn skills like that for their movies. And I just totally bought into his character being a fisherman, and totally just bought into everything that he was doing. The only issue that I had with the film ended up not being true, because I was watching it through my Plex server, because I had taken it from the Blu-ray copy that I had, but somehow during the conversion process, it ended up corrupting the file. And so randomly throughout the film, it would do these random jump backs. And I thought that was a part of the editing process of the movie. I can luckily say that going back to look at that actually did not happen. That was actually not the case. It was an error with my copy, and I was able to rewatch those parts that I noticed those issues with no weird edits whatsoever. So the editing to this film, with that being said, is absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful commentary on the meaning of life, on the value of human life, and the ending is just absolutely gorgeous, because I think it's a perfect culmination of these three different lives, all in different directions, all from different parts of life, all from different perspectives, coming together in this beautiful moment. And as I said, in a society that we live in right now, in a world we live in right now, where the value of life is constantly being questioned, I think that we need more films like the Peanut Butter Falcon, not just to show us the value of human life, but also to give us that sense of hope and joy and laughter during a time of such darkness. So hopefully you enjoyed this review. Let me know your own thoughts. I give this film, with now me knowing the editing is not a problem, I give this film a solid A. I think it's definitely one of the best films of 2019. It's sad that it did not get more attention. Apparently, from the little research that I did, the directors, the people who worked on this film, were basically editing the movie as they were filming it on their their MacBook, on their computer. So that just makes it even cooler that you have these, I guess you could say, higher profile actors coming in to do this story. And of course, Zach Gottsagen is able to get a real highlight here and show everyone that it doesn't matter if you have Down syndrome, it doesn't matter if you're too old, right, in our current society with everything going on, with the illness that's going around right now, that every person, every human being has life and should be given that kind of respect. So let me know your thoughts about this and all the things we talked about in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, hit that subscribe. It helps us out a lot. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to my April Patreon and Subscribe Star members. We have animation commentator Brian P., Dion, Divex, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunker Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Intertrap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, JJ Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B. And to my Subscribe Star members, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Dark Star 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J. Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadan G. Adams, and ZK Man. And out of step with reality, I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank spot just previously in case any more people decide to become a Patreon or Subscribe Star member over the next few days. Just remember that as soon as you sign up, you are immediately eligible for any of the benefits. If you just sign up at the $1 tier on Subscribe Star or Patreon, you get a shout out at the end of every single video, including my live streams. If you're a $5 or up backer on either platform, you get access to exclusive giveaways where I give away several 4K Blu-rays, digital copies every single month as well. If you jump up to the $10 tier on either platform, you get access to all of that, plus you get access to an exclusive podcast that I do with my friend John the Flick Pick of John Flickinger and the Flick Pick fame. We do a bi-weekly podcast, so every 2 weeks or so we do one, so you get probably about 2 or 3 depending on what's going on, probably more so now with everything going on in the craziness of our world, but you do get access to that. Also, if you are at that $10 tier, it means that you get to take part in the Q&A part of that podcast, and so about 24 to 48 hours before the podcast, maybe even longer beforehand, I'll leave a post in the Patreon Subscribe Star. You'll be able to leave a comment on a question that you want us to answer, on a topic that you want us to cover in a future podcast as well. All of that you have access to. And if you're a $25 backer and up, you get all of those things. Plus, you get a t-shirt for your first month. That's right. You get a free t-shirt, high quality Odin's Movie Vlog t-shirt. So just make sure if you're at a $25 and up backer level, you leave your address. That way I know where to send that to. And also I will be messaging you to get your size information. That way I can send that out to you as quickly as possible. But you also get access to an exclusive Chosen of Valhalla live stream that we have once a month on this channel, where I invite you to be on the show. You can either show your face or not show your face, or hey, you don't have to show up at all. It's totally up to you. And we talk about a wide variety of things. We talk about movies that you've been watching, modern things going on, the pop culture, and pretty much anything that you yourself want to talk about. So if any of these things sound interesting to you and things that you'd want to do, please hit that Patreon Subscribe Star link in the description of this video and think about joining today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And as always, God bless.